my slips, my falls, my trials and tribulations, my heart, my balls, my somebody stop me, somebody come and get me. Little did I know that the Lord was riding with me. The dark, the light, my heart, the fight, the wrong, the right is gone.
Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube family? This is Samuel Leggett representing Team JVS. To my great pleasure, I was able to go and attend the Middleburg Film Festival 2019 in Virginia, and it was a very good experience because I was able to see a slew of amazing films that have had wide ranges of praises and like awards and already nominations sure to come. And this one was one that was near and dear to my heart because I think when I heard the first interview about it, like I was like, wait, this is about his life story. He's using a pseudonym, he's using a specific name to characterize this as opposed to not be so obviously blunt. But this is really about him. And I'm talking about Honey Boy. This was directed by Alma Harel. This was written by Shia Labeouf, starring Shia Labeouf. This was also starring Hedges, Noah Jupe, Byron Bowers, Laura San Garcia, FKA Twigs, and a slew of other great actors and actresses. Clifton Collins Jr. was in this one. There's a lot of different peaking that kind of came through this one, but man, I left this film just in awe, to be quite honest with you, because I felt like I thought I knew, who Shia LaBeouf really was and the different dimensions of, how messed up some of the things that had to have gone through his life and how much his life has been turned upside down with people's perception of who he is and whether or not they think he's crazy, whether or not he actually is dealing with like a mental like block or like thing that's holding him back or an imbalance that's kind of keeping a weight over him from being able to be proclaimed as one of the greatest actors out. And I still say he is one of the greatest actors out. And this movie really brings light to that whole process of how he came to be. I think that it'd be very fascinating to have something like that for Joaquin Phoenix, even given his, tragedy and like upbringings and a lot. And Keanu Reeves the same exact reflection of that. But this movie, the synopsis reads, a young actor's stormy childhood and early adult years as he struggles to reconcile with his father and deal with his mental health. So, as far as the way that they shot this film, I think that it felt very personal. A lot of moments were, handheld. Some moments were kind of like long, panned out shots. And some shots were really uptight and personal. And impressionable at that, because the opening of it had Hedges as an older Otis character, who is of course Shia LaBeouf's character in real life, and I think that it kind of mimicked like a Transformers moment, and like he kind of just got thrown back. But the parallels to that moment to something that happens to a younger Otis later on, and just kind of like how like the wheels keep on turning as far as his career. But what's happening on him on the inside is like the focal point of the film. The movie doesn't go on like these tangents of all these different films that he's done and the amazing feats that he's done and the struggles he's had to go through with these different films. It doesn't go on that. It really goes on to all the personal things and the moments that drew him to be who he is and drew this character Otis into the guiding force that he had to be ultimately. But as far as the cinematography for it, I think the cinematography was actually pretty good. I have a whole slew of notes. I don't know if I'm going to go through all of it. But there's shots that kind of focus in on moments where he's dealing with pain. Moments when he is having like a laugh with his father, even though the circumstances are just so messed up. Moments where he's alone or with somebody that's out of the ordinary, and yet he's embracing the life that's given to him. And I think that those moments are so well captured. And sometimes they slow down just a little bit, and it reverbs back with this amazing score and sound mixing. because it's very quiet, very clear, and very precise. There's a moment where Lucas Hedges, Otis character, is kind of just walking through the woods, and he just kind of stops and just yells out, and it's just so in your face, and just you feel it. I think you feel it. I mean, it's a cross between the acting ability of these amazing actors and actresses, but also the way that it's actually directed. I think this is directed very well, to be quite honest with you. But the highlight of this is going to be the acting. Believe it or not, the younger Otis character that's played by Noah Jupe. Noah Jupe does so much that I don't even know. I don't know that I've seen a child acting performance this good probably since Room, honestly. Because there's so many different dimensions to what he had to go through. Whether it was, you know, separation anxiety through the mother, whether it was just feeling like overwhelmed with this feeling of a need for fatherly love and compassion and empathy and just like direction, like more so direction than anything. And it's just moments he's just not getting it, and he's trying to find it in any way possible. But then there's moments where he's just unraveling, and he's breaking things to try to feel something, to try to not lose his ever-loving mind. And the other side to that is Lucas Hedges, where you see everything that right now that Noah's younger Otis is going through. Lucas is dealing with the ramifications of all of it, whether it's PTSD, whether it's like alcoholism, whatever it is, like he is dealing with all of it in rehab kind of scenario. And I think that the way that they're going back and forth between the younger and the older, I think is very well paced. I think it's very well done. There are some moments that kind of seem like a little bit out of place in terms of like whether there was a need for it. But I think that every single moment is something that's special to Shia. Every single moment it lays a foundation of who he is, as not so much the actual characters, but what we perceive of him was wrong, or what we perceive of him was to be admired as opposed to, you know, abolished or exiled, so to speak. And then the biggest front character is his dad. So Shia decides to play the role of his father, and his father is messed up, man. James Lort is the character he's playing, but he's playing his father, and he's a very complicated character, because throughout the whole entire movie, I wanted to hate him. Throughout the whole entire movie, I wanted to be like, you are a bad father. Like, you're not a good man. Like, you're doing this to your son, and look what you're doing to him. And the problem is that he knows. Like, it's not so much that he don't know and he don't care. It's more so that he knows. There's this one moment where Shia's character, he goes to this AA meeting. He just start talking about what he's trying to do for his son, what he's trying to be for his son, and the things that he just can't give him, the things that he can't allow himself to be able to feel or do based on the circumstances of what his upbringing, the things that he's done, and the way that people look and perceive him. And it's even more dampening by that because, you know, Otis as a character is getting all these accolades, all these different awards, and all these different roles, and all this different money. And, like, his dad is meant to supervise and manage it, and he just is incapable of really doing it. And I think the Shia's performance is great. It is so heavy. It's heavy-handed because, you know, you see that Shia is trying to represent his dad as best he can. There's a line in this where I think Shia is yeah, I think it was Lucas Hedges' version of Otis was talking to his dad, and I think it was kind of like a line where it was like, I'm eventually gonna make a movie about you, and he's like, just do me justice, son. And I think that the point to this was that it wasn't that, you know, Shia painted his dad to be this terrible monster, but at the same time, he didn't depict him as being this good, wholesome dad either. Like, it was somewhere in this gray area where you know for a fact the dad's doing wrong. Like, dad's not good. But the circumstances surrounding the dad aren't any better. And the circumstances surrounding Otis aren't any better either. And you could see where certain things coming out of context, or certain things that are said to James from Otis, or Otis to James, like, it just comes off so wrong, and it's just a destructive relationship. And I think that the way that they acted are just so amazing, and the storyline is just so uncomfortable sometimes, because you're like, man, this is so messed up. And it's like all the different things that you don't realize that what Shia as an individual, as an actor, has to do to be able to maintain his mind. And some of this may be exaggerated, but as far as the confines of the character Otis, if this is a representation of Shia, all the different things that Otis had to have done and had to allow himself to be able to go through, it's a lot, man. It's really heavy. And there's a lot of quotable lines in this one. I don't want to speak on them right here. I would just say go and see Honey Boy. It's worth a watch. I think you're going to enjoy the performances. I think you're going to be impressed by the impression of the story. And then you're going to really see Shia for a different man. And I personally think this is one of his best films, best performances, great cast. And I think that Noah Jupe honestly should and might be nominated for a leading actor role. I'm not sure if he can be considered as a lead or if it would be best supporting. Best supporting, he would definitely get the nomination quick. So we'll see what Golden Globes leave for it. If I leave a review number for this one, oh man, I forgot to leave a new number for A Portrait of a Lady on Fire. That was a 10 out of 10. This one is close. This is a 9.5 out of 10. I actually really enjoyed Honey Boy. I cannot wait to actually see it again, honestly. This is one of those films that I would go back and re-see again. It's cemented in a lot of deep regard that I have personally. Not just for Shia, but people that go through trauma, people that go through life. And, you know, the people that shape and mold him are the people that are closest to him, yes, but what does that mean, ultimately? And I think that this movie has a lot to say. And I think it was directed very well, I think it was acted very well, and I think it was shot very well. But it's deeper than that. I think this is an impression that'll leave on you from what Shia is trying to actually say. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this review. Keep it locked. JVS, we ain't gonna stop. Make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe, and wait for more reviews to come. Peace, guys.